My name is Lee, and at 20 years old, I came home for college break and found my stuff in trash bags on the porch. My mom texted, "Sorry, hun, I have a new boyfriend. We'd rather be alone." I didn't protest. I did this instead. 2 weeks later, the police were handcuffing her. If you have ever felt betrayed by the people who should have been your biggest supporters, let me know where you are watching from. The flight was 5 hours long, not counting the layover and the delay. That kept us grounded in Chicago for nearly an hour while they waited for clearance. I spent most of it watching old sitcoms with broken subtitles and fantasizing about lasagna. Specifically, my mom's lasagna, the one she always made when I came home, or used to. I hadn't seen her in 5 months. I figured there might be a long hug at the door, maybe a tear you've gotten so grown up, or some rant about gas prices and how college doesn't teach you street smarts. I was weirdly looking forward to all of it. Instead, I dragged my suitcase up the familiar walkway and found a new lock on the front gate. It looked shiny, and my key didn't fit. I blinked, tried again, jiggled it, like that was going to magically change the cut of the key. When that didn't work, I pulled out my phone and texted my mom. "Hey, I'm here." Gates locked. No answer. I rang the bell, waited, knocked, waited again. Nothing. That's when I noticed the trash bags. 4 of them tied at the top, lined up along the porch like a chore half finished. I assumed she'd forgotten to take them out. I stepped around them carefully. Still no response. I called her cell straight to voicemail. At this point, I figured she'd probably fallen asleep. Maybe she had work early. Maybe she went to the grocery store. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I was being paranoid. I sat on the porch bench and scrolled Instagram, trying not to be annoyed. After 20 minutes, I texted again. "Mom, nothing." 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A message relief hit me first, then confusion. Sorry, hun, we changed the locks. Have a new boyfriend. We'd rather be alone." That was it. I stared at the screen like it might morph into something that made sense. A follow-up pinged in. "I sent you a message on Facebook a few days ago." Facebook, the app one hadn't opened since high school. She might as well have sent it via Morse code. I called her. She picked up on the 3rd ring. "Hi, sweetie." "Sweetie, I'm at the house." I said I figured you'd get in touch. You knew I was coming well. Things changed. I laughed, came out sounding hollow. "You changed the locks. It wasn't personal. It's just Vincent and I need space right now. He's staying here. It's been kind of our little getaway, and we just want to enjoy each other's company without distractions. And I'm supposed to go where? I don't know, Lee. You have friends, right? Maybe you could stay with one of them. Most of them are out of town like I told you last week." Oh, pause. "Well, I did leave your stuff out for you. It's on the porch." I glanced to the left. "The trash bags. That's my stuff." "Yes," she said brightly. "I packed it up yesterday. Mostly clothes. A few books. You don't need much, right? You're only here for a week." There was a long silence. "Lee," she said, "are you still there?" I hung up. Then I got up and opened one of the bags. My hoodie, my sneakers, my framed photo from senior prom, still cracked from the move to college. Everything smelled faintly like lavender, dryer sheets, and betrayal. I didn't cry, not then. I just stood there holding a trash bag full of my own belongings like I was about to haul it to the curb and donate myself to Goodwill. Eventually, I found a hostel, the kind with bunk beds peeling paint, and a front desk clerk who looked like he only worked nights. To avoid people, I checked in using the emergency card I kept tucked behind my ID. I showered in one of those coin-operated stalls that blast you with lukewarm water and makes you question your choices. Then I climbed into the lumpy bottom bunk, pulled the sheet over my head, and tried to pretend I was camping somewhere. Ironic. The next morning, I went to check my college fund just to see how long I could afford to be homeless. With dignity, the balance was 0. I refreshed the page, closed the tab, reopened it. still zero. The fund had been my lifeline. It came partially from my grandfather's inheritance and partially from 3 years of tutoring rich kids who thought AP chemistry was the name of a boy band. I'd scrimp and save and skip every non-essential meal in high school to make that account grow, and it was gone. I just stared at the screen at the little $0.0 like it was taunting me. My hands went cold, and for the first time since I got back, I didn't feel angry. I felt scared. My mom has always believed in second chances and third ones and 15th if the guy had nice teeth and a halfway decent Spotify playlist. Growing up, it felt like every few months there was a new man in our lives. New man, new rules. One wanted me to call him dad. Another insisted I leave the room whenever he was watching TV. A third gave me unsolicited advice about my posture. That one didn't last long. Mom dumped him when he said the couch was ugly. It was a cycle she'd fall hard, rearrange our whole lives around whoever she was seeing. And when it inevitably fell apart, she'd swing in the opposite direction. No more men, she'd say. Just as girls. She'd binge watch old sitcoms with me, cook dinner every night, and act like a sitcom mom herself. For a few weeks, she'd cry. Sometimes ask me if I thought she was unlovable. Then, like clockwork, a new guy would appear, usually with a motorcycle or deep V-neck. And suddenly, we were back on the merry-go-round. By the time I hit high school, I'd stopped waiting for things to stabilize. I got a job at a local bookstore, then another one tutoring middle schoolers. I knew if I wanted to go to college, I'd have to get there myself. Mom always said she wished she could help, but between rent, groceries, and her deeply unfortunate taste in men, there was never anything left. What made it possible in the end was my grandfather, my mom's dad. He didn't say much, but he saw more than he let on. When he passed away during my junior year, he left me a college fund, $40,000 in a savings account set up in my name. I added about $8,000 of my own. Over the next year and a half, it was enough to cover my tuition and most living expenses if I stayed careful. The account had been open for a long time. My mom had the password from when I was still a minor, and I never changed it as I trusted her because I wanted to believe that deep down, she'd always be on my side. Spoiler, she wasn't. The morning after I arrived home to trash bags and betrayal, I didn't sleep in the hostel. Bed was itchy and my brain wouldn't shut up. At some point, between sunrise and my third instant coffee, I logged into my account. I wasn't even sure why. Maybe I wanted to check that something in my life still made sense. The balance was $0. I blinked, hit refresh, checked the transaction history. It was gone, all of it. Every last dollar. No fraud alert. No unauthorized activity. Just transfers initiated from the linked device, which of course was her phone. I didn't cry. Not right away. Mostly, I just felt stupid. Like cosmically, irreversibly stupid. I stared at the screen. Like it might change if I looked long enough. Like maybe it was a bank error. Maybe I logged into the wrong account. Then I remembered who had the password, who had hugged me goodbye when I left for college and told me how proud she was, who had told me she was so glad. You don't have to worry about money like I did at your age. I called her. It rang 4 times and went to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. I called again on the 6th try. She picked up. Hi, sweetie. She said like we were catching up after brunch. How are you settling in? I saw the balance. I said my voice sounded weird, like it didn't belong to me. It's all gone. A beat of silence. Oh, you mean the account? Yeah, the one you weren't supposed to touch, Lee, she said, drawing my name out like it was a sigh. Don't be so dramatic. It's not gone. It's just tied up. What does that mean? Well, we used some of it for a little trip. Just a short one. Vince had this incredible deal on a cruise. He used it for a vacation. Not just that, we're also renovating the kitchen. Needed work. And Vince's friend runs this amazing contracting business. He gave us a great price. And the value of the house will go way up. So really, Mom, what? That was my college fund. Grandpa left that for me, and I added my own money. I know, honey, but Vince is going to pay it back. All of it. He's just a little tied up right now, cash flow wise. Most of his money is in investments. You know how these things go. No, I said I don't, and I don't care. I want it back now at least. You're being hysterical. I laugh. Not because it was funny, because I couldn't believe she was doing this again. Spinning things, guilt tripping, making it my fault for having boundaries. I'm being hysterical. You stole from me? Oh, please. That's such a strong word. I borrowed it. You didn't ask. I didn't think I needed to. You're my daughter. No, I'm an adult. That money was mine. You emptied the account without permission. That's theft. Her tone changed. Don't talk to me like that. I'll talk to you however I want because right now you're not acting like a mother. You're acting like a thief. There was a long silence on the line. Finally, she said, fine. I'll talk to Vince. I'll send it back. Happy now? No, I'll be happy when it's in my account. Every cent, you'll get it, she muttered. Stop acting like the world is ending. And then she hung up. I sat on the edge of the hostel bed, phone still in my hand, screen gone black. My heart was pounding, not just from rage, but from something deeper. Something called her. A line had been crossed, and I knew even then there was no going back. She'd made a choice. Now I had to make mine. I gave her 3 days. Not because I believed her. Not really. But because somewhere deep in the fossil record of our relationship was this little flicker of hope that maybe for once she'd do the right thing without needing a full-blown meltdown to empty it. For 3 days, I refreshed my bank account like it was a group chat, waiting to blow up. Nothing. I texted her once, any update. She replied, it's being handled. Whatever that meant. On day 4, I asked again. This time she didn't reply. On day 5, I sent her a longer message. I need a timeline. I have bills, rent, tuition. I need to know when the money is coming back. She left it on read. So, on day 6, I called. She picked up with that tone she always uses when she knows she's in the wrong, but hasn't decided how to spin it yet. Lee, I'm literally in the middle of something. Hey, then I'll be quick. I need my money back. I've been patient, she sighed. I told you it's being handled. Vince said he'll take care of it when his next investment pays out. Did you actually ask him? Pause, we talked about it. Did you say, Vince, I stole $48,000 from my daughter and you need to pay her back? Or did you just vaguely mention that you're sure on cash? Silence. That's what I thought. I said, Lee, don't start with the drama. You have no idea how hard this year has been for me. You're right. I was too busy working 2 jobs and going to class full-time while saving every penny I had because I knew you couldn't help me. Oh my God, I wanted to help you, she said, voice rising. You think I enjoyed watching you scrape by? I cried every time I saw you working those stupid shifts at the grocery store. You didn't say a word when you took the money. I didn't take it, she snapped. It was accessible. And it's not like I spent it on drugs or something. It was for the house and for us. Me and Vince. We were planning something beautiful. I laughed. Actually laughed. You think this is funny? She snapped. No, I said. I think it's pathetic. You didn't just spend my money. You spent Grandpa's money. He left for me. Not you. Not Vince. Her voice dropped. I'm your mother, Lee, and I'm the one who has to figure out how to stay in school now. You don't understand how complicated this is if you just trust me. No, what? No, Mom, I'm not trusting you. I'm done trusting you. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, you'd really do this to me after everything I've done for you. I raised you. I gave up everything. And then you threw it away for a man who's probably already planning his next beautiful renovation with someone else's money. Lee, I'm going to the police. She laughed. You are not serious. I am. You're going to report your own mother. Yes. Oh my God. You are so ungrateful. No, I'm just tired of playing the fool. She hung up. I sat there for a second, then opened my notes app and copied the messages she'd sent me. The one where she confirmed she took the money. The one where she said Vince would handle it. I screenshotted my bank statements. I added a photo of the old check I deposited when Grandpa died. The one marked for Lisa's education only. Then I walked to the nearest police station. Took a while. I didn't have an appointment. I waited behind someone reporting a stolen bike and a guy with a noise complaint. I sat there with my backpack in my lap, reading over everything for the 10th time, wondering if I was about to become that girl. Some cautionary tale. People whispered about at family barbecues. Remember Lee turned her mom into the cops, but the officer I spoke to didn't blink. You have documentation? He asked. Yeah, I said. I handed him everything. He looked through it page by page. This fund was in your name? Yes. Did she have power of attorney? No, just the password. He nodded. Okay, that was it. No big speech, no dramatic gasps. Just okay. 3 days later, my phone rang. It was her. You called the police on me. My mom snapped. No hello, no pause. What is wrong with you? I let the silence stretch for a second. Maybe 2. I asked you to pay me back. I said you said you would. Then you didn't. I told you we were working on it. Vince has a plan. He's coordinating the whole thing. The renovations are going to make the house worth so much more. You'll get your money back, and then some. You sent $48,000 to a man I barely know, I said. And now it's gone. There's no timeline, no receipts, no contract. That's not a plan. That's a gamble. Why are you being so cold? She said, her voice rising. You used to love this house. Don't you want it to be fixed up? Vince said he could get it done for half the normal price if we paid up front. So that's what I did. I was trying to help us both. You didn't ask. I said, you took out, for God's sake. She cut herself off. You're blowing this out of proportion. Do you even understand what you've done? Uncle Joe called me this morning. Aunt Margot left me a voicemail practically crying. They think you've lost your mind. I told them everything. Everything I asked. She didn't answer. I told them. She continued that you've been under a lot of pressure lately and maybe you were just overwhelmed. I defended you, Lee. I said you weren't yourself. That's the only reason I can think of, because otherwise this is cruel. I'm not overwhelmed, I said. I'm done. He went quiet just for a second. Then she shifted tactics. You're really going to make me go through a legal investigation? She asked. Over money that's already being handled. It's not being handled, I said. It's being brushed under a rug. You'll regret this, she said, her voice shaking now. I promise you, when this is all over, when the work is done and the house is worth double, I don't want a cut of your fantasy flip. I said, I want the money that was left to me for school. From Grandpa, more silence. But now I could hear her breathing. If you're not going to fix it, I said, I'll let the police handle it. You don't have to do this, she said. Please, just give me a little more time, Vince said. Then ask him, I said. For real this time. She didn't reply. But the line didn't go dead either. Just that soft empty space where guilt turns into resentment. I hung up. I'd love to say that after I filed the police report, things resolved quickly, that someone swooped in, saw the receipts, the texts, the empty account, and said, yep, open and shut. But that's not how it works. At least not for people like me who don't have lawyers on speed dial or a family name that carries weight. Still, the report kicked off an investigation, a very real one. And that's when things started unraveling, according to my aunt, who heard it from a neighbor who read it on Facebook, where my mother was very not subtle. The police didn't just show up. They showed up while she was getting ready for a wine and shakadiri night with Vince. That's what she called it. I call it Thursday. They wanted to ask questions. Standard stuff. She could have cooperated. He could have played it cool. But instead, she got indignant accused them of ruining her evening, told them her daughter was being hysterical over a few dollars, and in a moment of absolute genius, threatened to sue the department for harassment, which is apparently what triggered the handcuffs. They didn't arrest her. They didn't charge her that night. But they did cuff her for safety. Well, they confirmed her identity and collected statements. And according to her tearful voicemail the next day, the humiliation was unbearable. Which of course was the point of the voicemail, not to apologize, not to explain, but to make me feel guilty. She said, "Do you know what it's like to be treated like a criminal in front of your boyfriend?" She didn't mention draining my college fund, or lying, or telling me to sleep on the sidewalk like it was a minor inconvenience. Just, the trauma of the handcuffs. I didn't respond, so she escalated. She started calling family members, ones we hadn't seen in years, old cousins, second aunts, a niece of my late grandfather who once sent me a Christmas card with the wrong name. They started reaching out to me, some gently, some not so gently. "She's your mother. You only have one. She's been through so much." I thought about ignoring it, but then I realized silence lets people fill in their own story. So I told the truth, not dramatically, not in caps lock, just clearly. I posted a single message in the extended family group chat. I included screenshots of her text, a bank statement, a few dates, no commentary, just the facts, and that was enough. A few relatives messaged privately, said they'd had their own issues with her, said they believed me. One cousin even admitted she remembered a weird comment from Vince about bequeathing family assets, like we were all shareholders in a sitcom trust fund. Eventually, the noise quieted, not because everyone agreed, but because the ones who mattered had heard enough. That's when the official letter arrived. She had to repay the money or face charges. I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. I just waited. I wish that had been the end. I wish she had just repaid me the money, and that was it. But it was far from over. She stalled, said she was working on it, said Vince would come through soon, said maybe we could meet halfway. I didn't respond a week later. She stopped bringing up Vince entirely, which is how I knew something was wrong. Eventually, it came out, first in a teary voicemail, then in a chain of rambling texts that read like a confession, and a breakup letter rolled into one. Vince was gone. He'd taken the renovation money with him. There were no permits, no contractors, no receipts. The company he claimed to be working with didn't exist. The friend who handled the permits had a disconnected number. She even found out the name he gave her might not have been real. She paid him nearly $40,000 for a dream remodel that never started. He vanished before they could so much as knock down a wall. And suddenly, she wasn't just embarrassed. She was broke and alone. She didn't tell me all that directly. Of course, she sent me a meme about betrayal followed by a "can we talk" text at 2 a.m. when I didn't answer. She sent a voice message sobbing. I didn't know. I thought he loved me. I thought we were building something together. But by then, I was done being the safety net. She tried to get a loan, but her freelance career and mountain of credit card debt made that impossible eventually. She did the only thing she could. She remagged the house, a bad loan, high interest, terrible terms. I almost felt sorry for her until I remembered that I hadn't asked for revenge, just a refund. She sent me $20,000 upfront. The rest would come in installments, enforced, documented. Fast forward 2 months, the payments coming now, not from her directly. She set up a third-party service, probably to avoid having to type my name. They land on the same day every month. Like rent, I use them to cover my books, my groceries, my future. She doesn't call anymore. No voicemails, no chain texts, no surprise memes about forgiveness. I think she knows it wouldn't work. According to my aunt, the renovation never started. Vince was a ghost. The money's gone. She's stuck with a predatory mortgage, a gutted living room, and no one left to blame but herself sometimes. I wonder what her version of the story sounds like. Maybe I'm the ungrateful daughter. Maybe he was her last shot at love. Maybe she's the victim, but I stopped rewriting her story for her. I'm not her backup anymore. Not her therapist. Not her excuse. Just her creditor. And this time she doesn't get to pay in guilt. Only dollars. Sometimes I wonder if I was too harsh. I mean, I didn't scream. I didn't drag her name through the mud. I just set a boundary and stuck to it. But part of me still wonders, should I have shown more grace, more softness, or did I finally do what needed to be done? What do you think? Did I do the right thing, or did I go too far? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.